first ASEAN 5G cybersecurity test lab to be launched in Malaysia. Cops seized drugs worth RM500,000. Hello and good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. You're watching Updates at Noon with me, Azlani Adani. Malaysia will launch the 5G cybersecurity test lab, the first ever in ASEAN region. The initiative is a joint effort by National Cybersecurity Specialist Agency, Cybersecurity Malaysia CSM, Huawei Technologies Malaysia Sdn Bhd and Celcom Axiata Berhad. Communications and Multimedia Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah said the test lab will be a model for end-to-end cybersecurity, covering a number of scenarios and offering services inclusive of mobile applications and hardware evaluation.
It will also include a comprehensive 5G testbed ecosystem comprising technologies such as 5G radio access network or RAN, edge network and cloud application. The test lab will also carry test cases including the Internet of Things, security, telecommunication security, and look at improving readiness in responding to 5G related cyber attacks.
Datuk Saifuddin said the government is also looking at the initiative from a holistic approach, adding that it comes out from the National Digital Agenda and the Fourth Industrial Revolution 4IR Council chaired by Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin. The minister added that since the launch of the Multimedia Super Corridor MSC 25 years ago, the government is looking at a new version of the MSC. The Government of Malaysia's Special Purpose Vehicle, GOMSPV, will be the entity to oversee the deployment of fifth-generation 5G infrastructure and network nationwide. The Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission MCMC Chairman Dr. Fadlullah Suhaimi Abdul Malik said the entity will manage the country's transition to 5G network. Dr. Fadlullah said the SPV would provide transparent wholesale services to service providers, adding that there would not be any transfer of ownership for the next 10 years.
The intention is to award it to the government SPV simply because it's government-owned, and because it's government-owned, the cost of awarding would not be high. When the cost of awarding is not high, therefore, the cost will not be passed on to the licensees and thereof to the consumers. Okay.
Dr. Fadlullah added that MCMC will ensure that every telecommunication providers will have access to a more competitive and transparent price. So far, 3 spectra will be overseen by the entity, namely 700 MHz, 3.5 GHz and 28 GHz. Meanwhile, Communications and Multimedia Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah said the provision of 5G infrastructure in the country, led by a government-owned entity, would enable the distribution of 5G capacity to telco companies in a fair and transparent manner. He also said the model would also allow telcos to save on capital expenditure and avoid infrastructure duplication if they build them on their own, adding that the effect of the savings and organized implementation will be enjoyed by consumers in the form of more affordable 5G services. The minister added that the infrastructure sharing model under GOMSPV will enable telcos to provide a wider 5G coverage at competitive cost to consumers while generating higher returns. Cybersecurity aspect will be accentuated by the government in effort to bring Malaysia into the digital era. According to the Director General of the Economic Planning Unit, Prime Minister's Department, Datuk Saiful Anwar Lebai Hussein, said this is to ensure public safety and confidence to participate in the digitalization effort in line with the Malaysia Digital Economy Blueprint, My Digital. Datuk Saiful Anwar said a secure and ethical digital environment will help to upgrade rakyat's lives quality and their living standards.
Tetapi dalam mewujudkan dalam hasrat kita meningkatkan proses penjitilan ini, kita juga tidak melupakan aspek-aspek keselamatan seperti keselamatan cyber supaya kita dapat wujudkan satu kepercayaan atau trust kepada penjitilan ini.
Datuk Saiful Anwar added that other aspects that will be looked into are personal data protection, privacy and ethics digital environment. Theme as Lindungi Diri, Lindungi Semua, the first phase of National COVID-19 Immunisation Program PICK is set to commence tomorrow, involving 571,802 frontliners. The PICK is Malaysia's largest vaccination program with the aim of inoculating 80% of population to create herd immunity in the country. Deputy Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Ahmad Amzad Hashim expressed his hope that public will voluntarily register themselves to receive vaccination jabs.
Pendekatan kerajaan di dalam hal ini adalah untuk memastikan sekurang-kurangnya 80%, yakni bersamaan 25.6 juta penduduk dewasa Malaysia menerima vaksin menjelang Februari 2022 tahun depan, untuk mengurangkan penularan virus COVID-19. Vaksin itu sendiri tidak melindungi kita, tetapi vaksinasi melindungi diri kita daripada jangkitan virus COVID-19 ini. Apabila setiap individu mengambil vaksin, maka mereka akan dapat melindungi orang di sekeliling daripada sebarang jangkitan yang mungkin dibawa.
Dato' Ahmad Hamzah also reminded the public to continue observe the SOPs even after they receive the vaccines. He said the optimal result will only manifest once all three phases of the program are implemented, which is scheduled to complete by February next year. 8 new clusters were identified by the Health Ministry yesterday. 7 of them workplace-related and 1 community-based. The clusters were detected in Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, Negeri Sembilan, Pulau Pinang and Sarawak. The workplace clusters identified are Tapak Bina Jalan Kota, Tapak Bina Lombong Timah and Pasar Jalan Putra in Selangor, Tapak Bina Sungai Batu in Kuala Lumpur, Industri Sungai Gadut in Negeri Sembilan, Hilir Sungai Kluang in Pulau Pinang and Sungai Bakong in Sarawak. A total of 99 clusters yesterday recorded an increase in cases, the highest being Sungai Putus cluster with 186 cases, followed by 62 infections in Tapak Bina Jalan Pantai cluster and 54 in Jalan Cochrane cluster. With the new clusters reported, there are now 504 active clusters in the country after another 14 declared inactive, making the total number of inactive clusters to 578 as of yesterday. Terengganu Police seized drugs worth RM565,150 in a raid at Kampung Jambu Bongkok, Machang, Terengganu. Terengganu Narcotics Crime Investigation Department NCID Chief Superintendent Teo Ming Kung said the seizure was made following the arrest of a 22-year-old man and his 21-year-old fiancée on the same day at about 1 a.m. Superintendent Teo explained during the raid, police discovered various types of drugs before finding more buried at the back of the suspect's house. He said the drugs seized include 2 kilograms of shabu, 1 kilograms of heroin, yaba pills and codeine liquid. He added that the drugs were believed to be imported from neighbouring countries, said to be sent to over 23,000 distributors.
Dia mempunyai 3 rekod kes dadah sebenarnya. Daripada tahun 2019, 2017, dia ada rekod. Sejak 2017 kalau dilihat daripada rekod kejadian dia. Namun dia juga mempunyai 4 rekod jenayah, iaitu kes di bawah Seksyen 457, iaitu kes pecah rumah. So, suspek ni juga selain daripada terlibat dadah, dia juga terlibat dengan jenayah pecah rumah, mengikut rekod kes-kes yang lampau.
Superintendent Teo said also seized during the raid were 42,000 ringgit of cash, a car, a motorcycle and 67,000 ringgit of jewellery. He said both suspects who tested negative for drug were remanded for 7 days until 26 February. The case is investigated under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act 1952. Police have arrested a local man to assist with investigations into a road accident in Bandar Kinrara, Puchong, which left a van driver seriously injured. A video showing a speeding Myvi car crashing into a van and a Proton Wajah had gone viral on social media since yesterday. Selangor Traffic Investigation and Enforcement Department Chief Superintendent Azman Shariat said the department received a report regarding the incident at about 2:40 p.m. yesterday. He said the complainant is a policeman who happened to be at the scene and was informed by a man that a crash had taken place and the driver of one of the vehicles had tried to escape but was held by the public. He said the man was then arrested and taken to the Serdang police station for further action. Initial investigations found that the Myvi was being driven recklessly and fast before hitting the van from behind, causing serious injury to the van driver, who is currently being treated at the Serdang hospital. The case is being investigated under Section 42, Subsection 1 of the Road Transport Act 1987. Malaysia continues to gain international recognition as the country bagged 4 awards at the 2020 International Craft Awards ICA ceremony held at Bikaner House, New Delhi in India on 21st February. The Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri said the international recognition was a result of the commitment and cooperation of all parties, especially the strategic partners in developing the country's craft industry. Motag and Tengku Ampuan Besar Meriam Weaving Skills Institute were picked as winners under the Lifetime Achievement for Government Representative and Craft Institute Academy of the Year categories respectively. Kampung Kepala Bendang, Sayong, Kuala Kangsar, My Community Craft Project was named as the Village of the Year, while a designer from Kraftangan Malaysia Perak branch, Rasmi Bujang, won the Designer of the Year Gen Next Award. The ICA program, organized by Craft Village, is a platform to recognize the contributions of individuals, craftsmen, artisans, designers and organizations from around the world to promote inclusive and sustainable development in the craft sector. Perak FC confirmed that it has ended the contract of Mehmet Durakovic as chief coach of Perak FC following a week-long negotiation. Perak FC board member Khairul Shahri Mohamad said the ending of the contract was at the request of Mehmet himself, who informed that he wanted to return to Australia to settle some family businesses.
Dan urungan ini telah berjalan selama lebih 1 minggu dan pengurusan amat menghormati pendirian Mehmet yang memilih untuk kembali ke Australia. Ianya merupakan satu keputusan yang amat sukar dan amat berat untuk kami putuskan, dan pastinya ianya satu kehilangan yang besar kepada pasukan. Dan saya mohon maaf lagi sekali kepada seluruh penyokong pasukan Negeri Perak atas perkara yang berlaku ini.
Khairul said the management had identified several suitable names to replace him as Perak chief coach, and on Mehmet's advice, it has picked a former Kuala Lumpur coach Chong Yifat as his successor. Yifat was a former Perak player in the early and mid-80s and had held the position of assistant chief coach for the 2011 to 2013 seasons, and also in 2017 when the team was coached by Karl-Heinz Weigand. Commenting on his departure, Mehmet cited that the COVID-19 pandemic as well as being away from his family as the reasons for him to leave after 5 years coaching the team.
But have to be honest, the last year with COVID hasn't been easy for me. Last year I've been by myself without my family. It was a bit hard, and again this year So look, at the end of the day, mentally, physically, and also family discussions, I think it's time for me to head back and look after my family.
In the meantime, Cairo Shahrir said Perak FC also agreed to appoint Rizal Naizali as Chief Executive Officer effective 10th February, and he would also double up as team manager this season. With that, we end updates at noon. In our top story, first ASEAN 5G cybersecurity test lab to be launched in Malaysia. Join us again at 10 p.m. on My Free Views, saluran Berita RTM channel 123. You can also stream the news live on YouTube or via RTM's MyClick web portal and mobile app. I'm Azlan Yadani. Thank you for watching and stay tuned to TV2. Goodbye for now.